together in the basic Bible homeschooling course. That's where we're at with my big-nosed friend over here, and he's got the cool stash going on. Glad to have you. Ooh, it's kind of burr cold here in Northeast Arkansas. How's the weather where you're at? Oh, just so thrilled, tickled pink, blue, and purple to have you right here with me. Here we go into our basic Bible homeschooling course. Let's just see if the thingy-ba-dingy, it don't work. Oh, no, Sonny. Let's just start off with a knock-knock joke. Are you guys good with that? All right, good. I'm good with it, too. Knock, knock. Yeah. Who's there? Theodore. Theodore who? Theodore wasn't open, so I knocked. Not Theodore, the door. I kind of blew it. My bad. See this guy? That's for me. Let's do it again. Knock, knock. Who's there? Theodore. Theodore who? The door wasn't open, so I knocked. Maybe you can pull that one off better when you tell it to your friends. Segment 1. We got to get our big-nosed buddy out of the way because he's blocking me. All right, so do the doodle. I know you're saying, oh, he's going to review it again, but that's just tough. We are going to do it, so just come on. Boop, blob, banana boat, whip, bubbles, bean, bounce, B-side, balloons. Woo, 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 woo. Like a monkey. Boop, blob, banana boats, being bubbled. Hey, Bobby. Oh, I blessed. Oh, no, I blew it. Let's try it again. Boop, blob, banana boat with bubbles being balanced beside balloons. Okay, and now I know you've seen it before. Boot, blob, banana. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, bop, 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 bop. Yeah, come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here we go. There you go. There he is. And looky here. And then we got to have this one over here. Okay, there you go. Boot, blob, banana boat with bubbles being bounced beside balloon. Can you say the jingle? Balloons complete our doodle. 3 seas and rivers too. Just one balloon is floating, but not the other 2. Which one is floating? Sea of Galilee. Very good. Hi, Rajesh, my buddy. Hola, from India. Man, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for being here. So we got the Sea of Galilee. It's the only balloon that's floating. I guess that one up there is floating too, but we're not going to deal with him. All right, so Sea of Galilee, there you go. We've done that before. I don't know why I continue with that. Oh, got to get my big head out of the way. Here's where we're at today, my friendly friends. We are at the Tigris River. And this is that other balloon that is not floating. That's the Persian Gulf down here. A lot of people believe, a lot of scholars believe, that the Garden of Eden probably was located somewhere in this general area right here. Now, geography has changed radically. Okay, so I don't think if you took a boat ride over there and all of a sudden, I think I'm going to go find the Garden of Eden. I don't think you're going to find it for 2 reasons. Number 1, God doesn't want you to. That's the big one. And number 2, because geography, has changed over the last 6,000 years or so. And so, but anyhow, they think that it probably was somewhere in that area because it mentions rivers, etc. My buddy Rajesh says he's now watching from Sweden. He's my buddy that is just like from everywhere. He actually lived in India, but now he's moved to Sweden. Where's he going to go next? I don't know. I wish he'd come to Arkansas. I'd love to hug my buddy. Anyhow, coming back to our thing here. All right, now what do? We prove to you that the Tigris River is actually in the Bible. Yes, we do. And so to do that, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 2. And out of the ground that God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. God is developing the Garden of Eden. And again, a lot of folks believe it's somewhere down in here. All right, and so it says they're good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Verse 10, and a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided and became 4 rivers. So one river comes out of the garden, becomes 4 rivers, and it's interesting one of them that's going to be named, and the name of the third of the 4 rivers is what? Well, looky there, Tigris, which flows east of Assyria, and the 4th river is the Euphrates. What? We're going to talk about that next time. The Tigris is a river in the Bible, and that's not the only time it's mentioned, by the way. And it's this one up here at the top. All right, that's the Tigris River. The one here, the main river down here at the bottom, is going to be Euphrates. We'll talk about it later. Okay. But there you go. All right, now the next thing we do is we do the doodle. So get out your doodleators. All right, we're gonna have to say goodbye to Big Nose Henry here. Big Nose, let's call him Bobby. Big Nose Bobby. Okay, Big Nose Bobby. See you later. All right, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the doodle it. All right, I still got a little mustache happening there, but anyhow, you just have to overlook that. All right, what's over here? The boot, right? Boot, blob, banana, boat with bubbles. You got a big old bubble over there, remember? Being balanced, right? That's the Red Sea, right? And that's Egypt down here. Boot, blob, banana, boat with bubbles being balanced beside balloons. There you've got the Sea of Galilee, Jordan River, Dead Sea, right? And I didn't leave myself enough space, but way over here, we just go like that, is the Persian Gulf, and you got a river that comes over there, and you got a river that comes over here, and we're talking about that river today. That's the Tigris. Good job. You guys drew it very, very well. We're getting close to the end of our 16 weeks. And so I know some of you are getting a little weary with always reviewing, but we're almost done with this, and then it'll be bye-bye, Sonny. But we'll move on to something else next time. You know what I'm saying? All right, so don't be weeping too much, because I'm coming back with something else. All right, there you go. Now what do we do next? I have no idea. Oh, yeah. We've got to do the book of Luke. Remember, that's the second thing. First thing we do is we are trying to figure out and memorize various parts of the geography of the Bible lands. Second thing that we're going to do each time is we are memorizing the major key themes of the chapters in the book of Luke. And we are now into chapter 21. I thought that was a pretty cool clue. I actually developed that myself. And so you got this, the road ends. It's all about the signs of the end of the times. We're talk about when Jesus returns and everything is concluded. Okay. That's what this particular chapter is about, at least partially. And it's a really cool chapter. All right. So if I were going to test you over segment number 1, I would want to know the phrase that we use to remember the Bible lands, boot, blob, banana boat, you know that. And what part of the Bible lands map did we emphasize? It was one of those balloons that's sinking. Actually, it was one of the streamers of the balloons, wasn't it? It was the one that comes up, and it's the furthest one from Jerusalem. That's the Tigris River. And can you draw the memory clue? Which I know you can, because you're just like crazy cool, and I love you for it. All right, here's a funny. You're going to like this one, I think. We call them sign sillies. Parachute for sale. Only used once. Never opened. What does that tell you about the parachute? The guy wearing it. If it was only used once and it didn't open, he didn't make it. What a terrible, terrible funny. But anyhow, there you go. Moving on. Segment 2. We're going to make a memory. We're going to apply the little doodle later here, you know what I'm saying? The little noodle with which we doodle. I just made that up like right now. It just came out of my head. The little noodle from which we doodle. We're going to make a memory. All right. The second segment is a review, and you know these. Gabriel's going to say Jesus is going to get born. Jesus does get born. Childhood, family tree, 40 days of temptation. Disciples are going to come to Jesus. 12 apostles. John's going to ask, "Are you the Christ?" Love this one. Storm on the sea of what? Galilee. Very good. Mount of Transfiguration. Then we've got the Good Samaritan story. Jesus is going to teach his folks to pray. Lay up your treasures in heaven. See the arrow there? Repent or perish. That's a hard one to remember for me, at least. 14, take the humble seat. Lost. 3 things. What are they? Bup, bup, and bup. Come on now. We've got a sheep, a coin, and a son. Very good. And then rich man and Lazarus. Remember, see the big old, that's a big old long arm, but he's giving Lazarus a hug there. That's Abraham. 17, what happened in 17? Come on. You know this one. 17, 10 lepers, but only one came back to thank him. And the rich young ruler in chapter 18. 19, Jesus is going to ride into Jerusalem. Remember on the what do you call that? The triumphant entry. 20, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, unto God what is God's. And here's ours today, which is the 21st chapter. And that is road ends. Can you see that? That's a ladybug crawling across my screen. Go somewhere else, Mr. Lady. Mr. Lady. Do you ever They're all ladybugs. Are there any guys? I don't know. We'll have to talk about that later. So if you were going to make a memory, you would also want to include chapter 21. And this would be the memory verse that I would suggest that you memorization is thing and put in your head. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. That's why this is called road ends. Talking about signs of the end. This is when Jesus comes back. We're all looking forward to that because he loves you very much and he can't wait to take you to heaven where you're going to be able to do crazy cool stuff. Oh, man, I love dreaming about heaven because I'm telling you, it's just going to be like, woo, can't wait to go. And then they'll see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, the power and great glory. So that's your memory verse. And here's one of the ways that I would suggest do those lines 10 times, 5 times, whatever, and then take some blanks and shove them in there so that and then they will see, very good, the Son of Man, very good, coming in a chariot, no, cloud. Anyhow, you got it. All right, moving on. Test prep. If I was going to prep for this particular part, here's what I would do. I'd ask, what is the major topic of this chapter? And you would say, signs of the end. Then I would say, can you quote the memory verse? And you'd say, well, I certainly can because I got that right here in my old make a memory doodle-later. No, the doodle-later's the thing. What was the, with your noodle, we can doodle? Something like that. Anyhow. Yeah. All right, let's be silly one more time. Ecclesiastes 3 and 4 tells us that there is a time to laugh. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, then let's do it. All right, here you go. I thought the dryer was making my clothes shrink. You ever have that happen? Probably not if you're younger than I am. But every once in a while I look down and I've got a little bit of a gut happening. And I've noticed that my britches, they're a little tight around the waist. And so I got to thinking, I bet it's the dryer. The dryer's what's making my clothes shrink. But it turns out it was actually the refrigerator. If I quit eating, I could get in my pants, and then snort, hardy. That was really Snicker. What is that? That reminds me of Snickers. I want a candy bar. Yeah, it's the refrigerator's fault. All right, segment 3. Ponder a passage. Ponder. I use that word because it rhymes. It not rhymes. It's got, P. This starts with a P and that starts with a P. So it's ponder a passage. Every time I think about it, I think of sitting beside a pond. And I guess you could do that. Where do you ponder beside the pond? I go to the pond to ponder. You kind of sit there and think, you know what I'm saying? All right, moving on. Here we go. There's our thingamajiggy, and this is our chapter. All right, here's what I want you to look at. 5 things, and we're going to take a question from each one of them. And there will be signs in there's signs of the end, okay? And there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars on earth, distress of nations and perplexity because of the roaring of the sea and the waves. People fainting with fear and with foreboding of what is coming on the world. Now, that doesn't have to be you because we don't have to fear Jesus' return. He loves us and he can't wait to take them. He loves them too, but they've been bad people. And because they're bad people, they are really scared to death of what's happening. You ever see anybody faint because they're so scared? Okay. They'll be fainting and they're going to be foreboding means that they're just, really, really bad worried about what's happening in the world today. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud. The Son of Man is an interesting phrase that describes Jesus. Every time you think of Jesus or hear of Jesus, probably a preacher or a teacher, Sunday school teacher, whatever, they almost always call him the Son of God. But did you know that in the Bible, it's quite frequently that they use the phrase the Son of Man? Why would they do that? If he's the Son of God, how can he be the Son of Man? Yeah, because he was Mary's son also, right? And so he's the son of humanity and he's the son of divinity. And so you might hear Jesus called the God-man. That's because he's a mixture of both. Okay. And one of the reasons he did that is so that he could know what it's like to be one of us. Okay. He loves us that much. They'll see him coming in great glory. Now, when these things begin to take place, straighten up, raise your heads. Straighten up. Look, raise your heads. He says, raise your heads because your redemption is drawing near. Redemption. That means Jesus is coming to get you. To redeem something means to buy something back. It's when something has been taken from you and you want it back so bad that you would actually pay to get it back. That's what Jesus did. He paid so that we could go to heaven to be with God. You know what he paid? He paid his own life. That's how much he loves you. And he told them a parable. He said, look at the fig tree and all the trees. As soon as they come out in leaf, you see for yourselves and know that the summer is already near. Have you ever done that? Have you ever watched a tree as it begins to bud? And you know that eventually that bud is going to take form and shape, etc. You ever do that? Ooh, and maybe if it's a tree, we got a couple trees in our yard that the bud, as it begins to break free, it looks beautiful. It's got like a little flower in it, Well, Jesus says, you can watch a tree and you know that as the tree begins to bud, we're not far off from summer. Well, he says the same thing is true about knowing when I'm coming back. Watch the signs of the time. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that the kingdom of God is near. Truly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all has taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. Did you know that this world is not going to be here forever? God is going to destroy all of this, but he's going to take you and me to be with him in a new world. That's going to be so much fun. In this new world, we're probably going to be able to fly. Did you know that? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be crazy wonderful. I can't hardly wait. So if I was going to test you over that, there are the 5 questions that I would use to test you over the 21st chapter, or at least part of it. So moms and dads, take a screenshot of that and you'll be ready. Got it? Let's be silly. Okay, I agree. See my airplane over here? What do you call an airplane that flies backwards? I got a good friend, Dylan, who rode an airplane I think it was yesterday or the day before. He might even be watching. He's down in Florida. He actually lives in Maryland, but he took a big airplane and he flew to Florida to be with his folks. And they're having a bunch of fun down there. But can you imagine if Dylan got on the airplane and it flew backwards? What do you call an airplane that flies backwards? Well, you call it a receding airline. Now, if you're very young, you probably have no idea what that means. But this guy's got a receding hairline. That's when your hair goes back. And when you get older, sometimes it goes back and you start to get bald, A receding means to go backwards. A receding airline. So that's when a plane flies backwards. It's a receding airline, just like this guy's got a receding hairline. I actually thought that was funny, but I had to explain too much of it, so it's probably not funny no more. Oh well. Segment 4. Apply the why. Now, I failed to do this the last couple times, but let's get rid of our boot Blob. Get out your Doodle and let's do it again, okay? We need to do something here. Let's review something that we haven't done in a while, okay? This time we're not going to do bubble letters. This time we're going to do squared off letters, okay? Now, remember, I'll just do just the W so you can remember. It's not hard. Just picture the W in your mind and square it off. See that? And then you just take the W out and you got a W, okay? I didn't make a very good thing here. It should come down here, but anyhow. You got a W. All right, now, what I want you to do with the H and the Y is I don't want you to draw it in first. I want you to just pretend that you're outlining it so that you can see it in your head, okay? And so, do. Can you do the Y? Here you go. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now we got a little extra space in here, so we'll just draw a funny man here because I put too much space between my H and my Y. There you go. So why? All right. Why do we need to understand and study chapter 21 of the book of Luke? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's just draw a few applications. Here they are. Number 1. Notice he says, now when these things take place, straighten up, raise your hand, look up. Your redemption is drawing near. Your redemption. Remember, we defined redemption as being bought back. Application question. Have you ever had to reclaim something that was taken from you? Maybe it was taken from you by maybe somebody stole it, or they're being mean to you and they took it away and whatever, but you had to reclaim it. And maybe you even had to pay for it. Did that ever happen? How did it make you feel when you finally got it back? Whatever you had to do to get it back. Did you feel like, finally, I've got what belongs to me? It's come back home again. I wonder if that's the way Jesus is going to feel, where Jesus does feel, at least at the present, knowing that he has bought us back, and one day soon we're going to get to go and live with him. How did it make you feel? How would it feel? How would you feel if you were the thing that was taken and it was God who had to redeem you? That's how much God loves you. How much did God pay to buy you back out of sin? He paid the whole life of his son. Don't ever forget, Jesus loves you very, very much. Now, number 2, he told him a parable. Remember that? And he said to look at a tree, specifically a fig tree. And he said, listen, when it starts to bud, you know that summer's near, right? What are some other signs that you see in nature that point to the changing of seasons? Right now, as I do this, the leaves are beginning to fall. And as the leaves begin to fall, it's what season? Leaves fall, so it's fall. Very good. That's why that's why they call it fall. And the snow comes on. What season is it? That's winter, right? So there's a lot of things that change in nature. But remember, the reason he tells us that story is so that we'll recognize that we can watch for the season in which Jesus is going to return. Nobody knows the day, but we can know the season in which things are looking like Jesus could come back and take us out of here, and we can really get excited about that. Then number 3, got to take my Y down. Number 3, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. Do you ever think about how powerful the words of God are? Did you know that the Bible is the most often printed? It's the biggest seller. There has never, ever, never, never, ever been a book, ever, that has been as popular as the Bible. Never. There have been more copies of the Bible printed than any other book in history. I'm told that if you took a Bible, if you had all the Bibles that you could get, if I had a Bible, and let's just say I owned all the Bibles in the world, and I began to put them end to end to end to end to end, they tell me that there have been so many Bibles printed that if you put them end to end, it would make a string of Bibles all the way around the world. Not once, not twice, but over 3 times. That's a lot of Bibles. And God says, it's my words, and I'm going to defend them, and I'm going to take care of them. A lot of people over the years have tried to destroy the Bible or limit people from reading the Bible. But God says, no, my words are going to stay, and I want people to be able to have them. He says, my words will never pass away. Not going to happen. My question for you is, what makes God's words the most popular reading material of all time? Why do you think the Bible is the most read book ever? How much do you trust the Bible to be accurate and true? God says his words are never going to pass away, that he is in control and he is preserving his words, and you can trust them. All right. If I was going to test you then, my question that I would ask you with regards to this section is, be prepared to write, I guess it's not a question, but it's a statement. Be prepared to write a short explanation of why the Bible is the most important book in all the world. Why do you think the Bible is the most important book? One last silly. Here we go. What did the launch pad say to the rocket? You know what a launch pad is, right? The launch pad is that thing the rocket sits on. And sometimes the launch pad actually moves. Sometimes it puts the rocket sitting on top of it, and it wheels it right into the spot that it needs to be in order to take off. So what did the launch pad say to the rocket that it was carrying? Can I give you a lift? Oh, did you see my rocket? Let's go back. You got to see the rocket. He's going to come up right here. You ready? Can I give you a lift? Oh, dear. Blob, snort. There's the rocket. Lock. There he goes. Didn't you like that? I did. Oh, my. All right, segment number 5. We're going to test you. It's time to test. But you got this because I believe in you. So here's your test. All right. Well, there they are. I'm not going to read them all. Why would I do that? Because your moms and dads are right now, they're taking a screenshot of that. I don't need to read them. I'm not going to read them to you. No, I am not. There they are. So can you pass the test? I think you can. You know why? Because I believe in you. Thank you for being with me today. If you found this particular study to be beneficial, it would really mean a lot to me if you would pray for Cindy and I and our little family ministry. And if you have a little extra money you can send our way to help us keep this thing going, that would be great too. I love you. I'm proud of you. You got this. You know what I'm saying? Be there. Matthew 16:26.